Ready, right? Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our regular meeting of June 10th, 2026. It is now 9 a.m. and we're prepared to proceed. Ms. Torres, would you call us to order?
Honorable Ralph Hessler.
Present.
Honorable Destiny Mitchell. Present. Honorable Ingo Hopner.
Present.
Honorable Chad Klein.
There.
Honorable Amanda Forrester.
Ms. Forrester is ill, but she will join us when we get to the actual meat of the agenda, and I'll call her up now. It's that time, okay? So you can log her as present.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank
Mr. Mayor, we have a quorum.
Thank you, ma'am. All right. Would you please join me in 15 seconds of silent meditation? Angela, would you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United
We have a motion to approve the agenda.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda with the removal of item F12.
Have a motion and a second, Ms. Stewart. Take roll, please.
Honorable Ralph Hessler.
Aye.
Honorable Destiny Mitchell.
Aye.
Honorable Ingo Hopner.
Aye.
Honorable Chad Klein.
Move on to public comment. I only have one person signed up this morning. That's Becca Isa. Come on down. We've been waiting for you.
In the back today, I got nothing with me. Good morning, Mayor Pro Tem, Commissioner, City Staff. Becca Isa from Main Street, just with some quick updates. We held the first of the Dancing in the Streetlight series last Friday, and it went really well until a thunderstorm came in and we had to shut it down early. But it was really great to see that a lot of people came out. The opener, Stevie Bluetone, played through his entire set, and then the headliner, Rockabilly Strangers, got started, and then the rain came. But people seemed to get the message that we were doing it, brought lawn chairs, and we're having a great time up until the rain. So we're excited for the next two in that series, the first Fridays of the summer months. So July 3rd, which will also include an Independence Day parade just before. We're just going to do it along Broadway, keep it a little bit shorter since it may be hot. Parade registration is open, so we're just trying to get folks to come join. It's going to be a very casual parade, no entry fee, no prizes, just for fun. And then after that, the Red Eye Band will be opening up at the plaza, and then Judy Romero and the Silver Bullet Band is headlining that day. And then August 7th, we have Constance opening and Southern Blend play. So should be good events. We have food trucks lined up for those as well. We're continuing to work on details of the Levitt series coming up in September and October, and excited to get the headliner announcements out soon as we have contracts signed with those groups. We have Second Saturday Art Hop coming up this weekend on Saturday, 6 to 9 p.m. downtown, plus whatever after hours things might be going on. We are continuing to support on the Foch Street project, and it's really coming along well. We've been hearing positive things about the sidewalk and the light poles, and I think people are starting to get excited about what it will look like when it's finally finished. We're working on a grant application to the USDA for a restaurant incubator program. So if we were to get funded for this, we would do some trainings of entrepreneurs who are interested in opening a restaurant business, and kind of just help people have the skills needed, everything from the food prep side of things, menu planning, inventory, to also the business side, business plans, taxes, how to pass certifications and all that kind of thing. So the hope is that we would train a new crop of people who are excited to open a successful restaurant here. And that's all I have for now. You guys know how to get in touch with me if you have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Let's move on to reports. We'll start with City Manager Whitehead.
Wow.
Sorry, ladies, we didn't sign up. How can I help you?
Sign up. This is the first time we've ever been here. Could we
Okay.
do a
I
public?
will make an exception for today, please.
Thank you,
Yes,
sir.
ma'am. Come up to the microphone, introduce yourself, tell us where you're from, and then go ahead.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, my name is Ellie Nordgren and this is Linda Brandes and we're from Sunshine Valley Garden Club. And it was started in 1950 in TRC. And we have a Blue Star Memorial that is honoring veterans and it's in a little area in front of the Rio Bravo Gallery. And the memorial is in need of repair. And we're having a hard time finding out when it was put in, but it was put in, we have a postcard that shows it in 1966. And it's in front of, sorry,
All right.
it's a dollar store in
Okay.
1966, but now it's Rio Bravo Art Gallery. I also have a picture of the sign itself. And it's back further in the shade. And this is the front of it. The back is what's really in need of repair. And we were wondering if the city would help with repairs or give us a name of somebody that could do it. And there's all kinds of criteria that can be done with a certain kind of paint and, you know, what, how you bring the wording up and everything.
Sure.
And so that's what we're here for today, is to try to find out when exactly it was put in and if the city would be willing to help with restoration.
Okay,
Okay?
thank you. Thank you for the presentation and here we'll look into it.
Okay.
To City Manager.
Mayor Pro Tem, members of the commission, good morning. Welcome to June. We're already halfway through that. Want to do a kind of a brief update right now with close. The end of the fiscal year is just a few weeks away. So we're kind of scrambling to make sure that we're, kind of getting everything in order. We've suspended purchase orders, those kind of things so that we can get to our final closeout. The next meeting, hopefully we'll be presenting, final budgets and some updates there as well as, contracts and then those items that need to be approved to move forward. So the next meeting will be a little busier than this one, potentially with some housekeeping items. Follow up with Becca, really want to again thank Main Street and Becca. She's a real trooper. She hung out there Friday evening in the rain and was soaked and in her blanket trying to stay warm. So really appreciate what she did. And the musicians, they didn't play, but they brought a lot of nice rain. So good on us for that. That was really great. I'm excited about that. Let's visit a little bit about Foch Street, just to kind of remind and kind of keep everybody in tune. It's really moving well. There's lots of folks on staff out there right now. Today was, before I came up, I took a quick look. There's lots of folks. The contract is scheduled to end July 8th. That's the end of the construction period. Reminds you that they have 30 days from that day then to finish the project. So that'll be kind of what we would call the punch list or anything there. We continue to stay really engaged with the crew. We expect, based on their 2-week look ahead, that Monday the paving contractor will be on site to begin. I think today they're pouring the last bit of curb and gutter that needs to be poured, which is on the east, the southeast side there behind the restaurant and the insurance company. So, and then we have there's a hot water ditch there that has technical spots, and so they'll be in place there. They're going to be pouring some big step. Those are the big items that's. And I think, as Becca pointed out, I do also receive lots of nice compliments for the path. People are walking on it, using it. It's wide, and they have done a nice job on building that. So we're excited. Shovel Ready continues to move along at a very good pace. They're on Second Street, finishing up that water line. That's a water line extension off the work that you guys did with the downtown project several years back. They've reconnected. That runs all the way up to Silver Street, kind of reconnecting. And then we started the project for Silver Street, the extension yesterday. So we're excited to get that going. If you've taken a drive out towards the south part of TRC, you see the new water tank is almost constructed on the Cook Street side. So our Shovel Ready project continues to move along really well. Contractors doing a good job. We did have some concern that there were water leaks back in the new water line, but what they did is they paved over everything when they tried, and they put it the water line and they come back and paved. Well, they had to go back and cut out where all the valves are so they could pour those in concrete. So they kind of did a little different strategy where they paved everything and then came back. So there were no leaks, just work to finish up exposing the valves. That's the second water project. That's been bid, it's been let. Our third week of construction. Contract crew is mobilized. They're potholing currently up around the elementary school. They've made a commitment to the city that they're going to bring in, I think, a couple of crews so that they can get the water line in around both schools done before school is back in, so that we attempt again to avoid that concern of water outages and kids having to be out of school because of water. So really thankful for them. They're really working that part. So both water projects are going. We remind you that the third project, Wispy 2, is ready to bid, as well as Critical Water, which is our biggest water line, which will be the what we call the metal streets. That's ready to bid. So we're again trying to stagger it so we can create some balance and figure that out. But we are ready to continue down those roads, and they're going well. Like to congratulate the Parks Department. Boat ramp is finalized, I think, and the skate park is close to being final. Both those projects came out really well. I think we've seen some good feedback. People are enjoying that, and so really good project. Ralph Edward Park looks great, and I think when Levitt gets in there in the fall and people are hanging out in the park, I think they're going to really enjoy that open space. So excited about that. Excited to tell you that we've started the new structure of the employees that you granted us, that we worked together. It took us a little while to get the job descriptions put together and get it out, but this is the first week that we've had a public works director functioning, and Bo is here, and then we've had our community service director is here to give a report, and at the same time our public safety director is going to give a report. So excited that our 3-tier system is going to work today, and you're going to get to hear from all of them. It's been a nice couple of days for me to have somebody now in the field talking with that, and I want to thank the staff. They've been really really welcoming. We're working well, and I just again applaud all the staff. It feels like we're really on the same page. We did complete a new water line extension on Cherry Lane, and then our street crew is out there now in between. We're patching potholes, and then we're using Cherry Lane as a backfill. So we have to order so much hot mix a day. Takes a little while to move around to get it into place, and then we'll continue to patch Cherry Lane. And then under the GEO bond money, we do have funding to do an overlay on Cherry Lane as well as an overlay on Arrowhead. So as Bo gets up to speed with Brendan, we'll start getting those projects fully online. An exciting day last Friday. We were able to get the helicopter located, removed. Really want to thank Bar2. They donated their time and energy to the Veterans Park through Maggie, through Mary Jo, through their board. The helicopter is there. It's on a temporary trailer in a staged area so that people can at least see it. It's on display, which is one of the requirements from the donating agency, was that within a year we released on display. And then we'll begin working to kind of come up with a structure, a plan where to put it into the park in a permanent setting. That will take a little time to figure that out and raise some funds to do so. And then I'll finally wrap. Jocelyn and I had a really nice kickoff meeting with our new audit team, kind of laid out the track and the plan. We'll continue to do some work. We have several things to kind of get done here before the end of the year, but feel like we're on a good process to bring us a good audit and take care of a couple of those findings that we had this year. So, Sameer, I would stand for any questions.
Okay, thank you. Questions, comments? Thank you, Mr. Whitehead. The analogy I would use is that we have a bunch of dominoes set up and some of them are starting to fall and we're setting new ones up in the end, trying to catch up. It's a great time for the city with all the projects that are finally coming to fruition and the things that are happening. People are going to get tired of all the construction. I understand that, but at the end, we're going to have a better city for it. It's taken a long time to get to this stage with the city, and I appreciate your leadership. I appreciate the work of this commission over the past few years. I think we're in a good place and feel really optimistic for what's going to happen in the near future for us. So thank you for that report.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yep.
Yeah, staff's doing great and I feel the same way. So at this point, let me, if you're okay, I'd like to then recognize Chief Tavazone to come up and he could give update from the Police Department, Community Safety.
Good morning, Mayor Pro Tem, Commissioners. We've been quite busy at the police department. Last month, we took 1,093 calls for service. We handled 17 motor vehicle accidents. We had Sky referrals, 11 Sky referrals for the month. Just Sky referrals of just any kind of suspected neglect or abuse that may be reported to CYFD. They sign it out to us. We go and so a lot of those are not substantiated and just may have any kind of concern for whatever children. And so we continue to ask the community to, if they suspect anything, to continue to call, and it's better to check and make sure it's not anything rather than not to say anything and it be something. So we appreciate the community calling out. The department did have 3 DWIs last month. Code enforcement had 29 properties that they were working on, and animal control took 117 calls for service. Officers conducted 235 traffic stops and issued 148 citations. We had 11 arrests for the month. We had a string of audits there for a little bit. Thanks to a quick investigation from our detective, we were able to identify the suspects and charges were filed. Subsequently, we had a string of commercial burglaries as well, where we collaborated with the sheriff's department and were able to identify and make arrests on those as well and return some of that property. And so I'm extremely appreciative of the relationship that we've built with the sheriff's department and the collaboration that we have in providing services for the community to provide a better service to the community. I would ask that if just a couple tips for businesses and for residential areas, if you can afford to purchase cameras, they're fairly inexpensive nowadays. Security cameras, invest in them. It's a really good investment. If you can get motion sensor lights for your property, that's also a great deal. That's fairly inexpensive. Never leave your firearm in your vehicle and never leave your vehicle unlocked, because some of the firearms that we've recovered have been taken from vehicles that they've left those firearms inside those vehicles. And so it's just for safety reasons all around. It's just better practice to, if you're going to have them, just lock them up when you're done with them, or in your house anyway. We been busy working with the RFP for the new building. So we're going through that process. I know we can't really talk a whole lot of that, but that's moving along and should be in front of you here in not too long a time. We've been working our traffic safety grants to try to address some of these issues, try to minimize some of these crashes that we've been dealing with, and some of the traffic complaints that we've had. And so the way the grants work is that they're federal funding that is filtered to the state. We get X amount for that purpose, and so we get to address it according to how whatever needs the community might have. On a positive note, I had one of my officers, I was approached by a member of the community who happened to be in a little bit of trouble and going through a hard time. And they wanted to make sure that I was aware that one of my officers, without being asked or being told about anything, took it upon himself to go pay out of pocket and buy that individual some groceries and some other items that they needed. And they were really moved by that and appreciative. And it's nice when you get that kind of report as a chief, and going above and beyond to serve our community members. And so, William Anderson, I don't know if you had an opportunity to meet him yet. If not, I'll make sure to bring him in. He's a great individual, great officer. We're happy to have him. And with that, I'll stand for any questions you may have.
Thank you, Chief. Questions, comments? Okay,
Thank you.
thank you, Chief. Continue to do good work.
Sir.
Mayor, let me introduce and bring down our Public Works Director, Bo Easley. He'll give a little brief synopsis of what's kind of happening. But I have to apologize a little bit. We normally have a 5 department head kind of meeting, but with the new change in the structure and everything we were going, we just couldn't put those together. So we're going to try to change it up. We'll still have departments reporting to you on a quarterly basis, the first meeting. So you'll still have the same 5 structure, but we'll probably work it so that one time it'll be Public Works, one time will be Community Service, and then the next time will be the manager's kind of reports. Because I still want the departments to at least be visible to the community, be visible to you so that you can see them. So today we're just going to kind of talk a little bit and let Bo kind of give you a little briefing.
Good morning, Mayor Pro Team, fellow commissioners. Monday, I deferred the new position of Public Works Director. This week I've been working with Jamie and Tracy quite a bit, catching up on all the water projects. There were quite a few projects. So we said meetings yesterday, and I got caught up on pretty much all the projects. Also with the North Riverside Vac Station and everything, we're working on that. Next week I'll be meeting with all the other departments, catching up with them, working with them. Been working with Chris, that has stepped up into supervisor position for the electric department, and everything that I've learned over the years and working with him and everything. Electric department's been pretty busy. We finished Loves, and now we're back on catching up on some of the little stuff that we had put off while we were building line for Loves and getting them on. But the electric department's been busy, replacing poles, doing new services and stuff. Other than that, I'll stand for any questions from anybody.
Question? Comment? Any involvement with Oak Street?
Yes, sir. Every Thursday, we have the meeting with the contractors there.
Okay.
Other than working with just electrical, we're still waiting on the contractor to do the electrical there for the lights and everything. But yes, sir, we've been
Satisfied with the way it's progressing and it's working, and we're gonna have a good project at the end.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's coming along very good. Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Bo. And now I'd like to hear Community Service Director, OJ Escher, is going to give a little briefing on what his side of the house has been doing.
Morning, Mayor Pro Tem, Commissioners. We'll start with the animal shelter. Tara is currently advertising for our spay and neuter grant. So if you qualify for it, you can get your animal fixed at no cost. So people that don't know that, take advantage of that. She recently reapplied for the spay and neuter grant. Tara's always working with rescues, right? You've got to keep that no kill status for the animal shelter. She's also applying for other best friend grants. Our notice of obligation for architectural site plan for the expansion has been approved. So I'll be working on processing a purchase order for that for expansion, along with all of her daily operations. The library summer reading program started past Monday. Theme for this year is archaeology. Pat has decorated the library with banners and dinosaur inflatables. So far, she has 12 adults registered for the program and 24 children for the reading and crafts for the program. She wants you to go by if you get a chance. She said go by if you get a chance. So she's also working on getting Wonders on Wheels. That's the state's mobile museum. Come back for another program this summer. Our facility department, Friday night at the golf course, part of our golf cart storage building blew off. So they're currently working on that, replacing that. I talked to Thomas this morning. He was on the roof, actually replacing it with screws this morning and then tightening and securing that down. They're also working on a leaky valve over the irrigation, for the irrigation system over at the Civic Center, along with their daily operations and keeping the facilities clean and stocked. Our Parks Department's getting ready to transition from baseball to soccer. They will be aerating the ball fields, upping the watering schedule to prepare for the soccer season. They'll also be aerating the smaller parks along with cleaning up the weeds throughout the park system. As you know, for the golf course, we've been working on the irrigation system. Bob has staff that has been supporting him and the vision in getting the sprinklers back and up and running. We put in an order for 88 sprinklers, new sprinklers. We received 72 of them. So we'll work with Gary and Bob and the staff on getting these implemented and installed. We've been working off one pump and motor at the golf course. We're supposed to have 2 pumps and motors. So we've been limping it along. Our pump and motor has been rebuilt. It's up. We have to make some arrangements to get to Las Cruces to pick that up. And then we should be running full bore over there with the sprinkler system as far as, you know, the pumps and motors and the power and stuff like that. So our swimming pool is open 7 days a week. Thank you, Destiny. Commissioner Mitchell, the water clarity and the pool temperature has been on target. Attendance has been up. We've been super busy over there. Put something out for $1 and we've been really busy. So Monday and Tuesday we conducted pool interviews for the pool supervisor position. We'll be offering one of the candidates a position over there. So we'll get Commissioner Mitchell some relief over there. So with that, as Gary mentioned, our boat ramp and dock project's been completed. That Trails Plus grant's been completely closed out. So we can move on from that and get ready for our next round of the Trails Plus grant. Also, we're only waiting for the pay requests have been submitted to DFA for the skate park. There was 2 more left. Once we get those, the reimbursement back, we can close that grant out as well. With that, I'll stand for any questions.
Okay, thank you. Questions?
I did want to, just one comment on the pool. I just ran the numbers. We're averaging about 97 people a day. That's an average. We've had over 160 in one day. So even though we lowered the price, we're making more money. Our deposits are bigger and people are getting to use the pool. And it's just really great.
Right. So what's the next big thing on your horizon?
Mayor, we've got a couple projects coming up. Obviously, you know, we're working on the Lee Bell Johnson. We have money for that. Get that going, that project moving, kind of step into the role of as the grant manager for that one for the city of TRC. Also been awarded some grant funding for a new playground at Family Park. It's first phase of our Luis Armijo Sports Complex master plan. So then obviously, you know, Rotary Park, the master plan there, and then our feasibility. It'll be an exciting year.
Sounds like it.
Looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well done. Thank you, OJ. And Mayor, members of the commission, I would say that's our reports for the month starting June.
All right, nice reports. Sounds like it's moving at lightning speed.
We have things going on.
Move on to city commission reports. Anybody want to start? Oh, no. Yes, sir.
Good morning, Mayor Pro Tem, city staff, fellow residents. Summer's here, it's already heating up fast. It's not slowing down what we got going on downtown, especially though. We still have live music going on all the time. Our Hops is Saturday. We got plenty of right now. There's farmers markets, wellness stuff, outdoor. It's nice to be outside. It's not even hot. Locals and visitors has been great showing up to these events. I just want to give a shout out to our city boards, committees, county committees that are doing outstanding work. I see a lot of stuff going on for them to push agendas for us to be a nice little art town. Getting energy out there into the rest of the state. Last Tuesday, I went on for city manager, lightheaded, Commissioner Hopner again. It went well. We walked Coach Street. It's nice. I like the way it's looking actually a lot. It's going to turn out to be a really nice little part of our town, connecting our 2 main streets. We stopped by the airport. It's looking really nice also. The vision for that, we talked about that out there. Fleet department, the building service center, They're doing a good job over there. Thank you to the city staff for all the hard work. Keep an eye on it, watching kind of what everybody's doing. Everybody's really, really busy right now. I think we're one of the busiest little cities, so. Still got a lot of progress to make, but as the mayor said earlier, this morning, I'm feeling optimistic also about where we're headed. I'll be heading to Albuquerque soon. I guess so the 4 of us will be going up Mondays, Monday and Tuesday. And we're gonna do some more training, networking, learning. Looking forward to putting my best effort to become a better commissioner. That's all for me. Thank you. Good morning.
Thanks, sir.
To touch on what Chad said about this is the Molly 2 training. We went to Molly 1 in January, and this is from the New Mexico community. And once we complete enough of these trainings, we become certified public officials. That's what it's called.
Yep.
So we're trying to all get that certificate. We had a great report out on the swimming pool. We have been slam packed. It's been amazing. The water's been perfect. Everybody's happy. Got full staff that are they're great at what they do. Just a little bit of guidance and common sense, but they are very professional, and we've got lots of compliments on them. I was also going to shout out on the 4th of July parade. I'm hoping to get some more people interested in that, and I keep forgetting, but the American Legion wants to put in 3 entries, but they need a form, and I haven't been able to get out there and get them the form. So that's Rebecca. And then I also had the pleasure of working the polls for the first time last Tuesday, and I was one of the presiding judges over at the Elephant Butte Center, and it was a very interesting experience. And I encourage people from the community to get out and work the polls. It's a paid day. You get paid for it. You get to meet a lot of cool people, and it was just a lot of fun. It was interesting. Everybody votes usually, and then being there all day and seeing everybody come in was just really fulfilling. And I would just encourage more poll workers in the future. So with that, I think that's all I have.
Yeah, everything was said. Morning, everybody. I just want to say also thank you for the volunteers and for the people who really make our town a nation to visit. And looking forward to all the events and up. So we are all getting ready for that, to service you and to be. Please come down and be part of it. And that is encouragement, and thank you for everybody who is volunteering, because here when we see that it is appreciated what we do, and it is here what is the biggest thank you to everybody who volunteers and who tries to make events happening. Thank you.
I think one more add-on. I went ahead and did some research on the Blue Star Memorial Park, and it was actually dedicated in September of 1958. Between September 58 to September 59, that's when the club got started, and it was a nationwide project started by the whatever they were called, National Garden Clubs Incorporated in 1945. And so I would like to, if you got their contact info, I'd like to give them this information. There's also a microfilm of the dedication at the library on, so this is what, according to AI and Google. So just pick a little update.
Yeah.
Somebody
knows how to use AI.
Yeah.
Good job. All right. Right, good morning, everybody. So I have a few little things to report, and I'll report the most recent. Yesterday, I had the privilege of a discussion with the Cabinet Secretary, Rob Black. He's the Economic Development for the state of New Mexico. We had several discussion points, from the conservation toll at Altamira Lake State Park to expansion of our airport to potential regionalization of wastewater facilities and several other topics. So The purpose of the call was to determine which other representatives from other departments Representative Black will bring. And I suggested he would bring members of the Environment Department to talk about the water, wastewater issues and things of that nature. And present with me during this meeting was Mayor Holcomb. He's the Elephant Butte. Chairman Paxson wasn't able to be present because he was certifying an election. So I think that's always an important thing. But hopefully we can come to agreement on 2 or 3 major issues when we meet with Representative Black in the near future. And we'll bring those to the commission for consideration. So that's kind of what we're working on with him. I was honored to present at the ribbon cutting for Loves. Thank you, Commissioner Mitchell and the Chamber of Commerce for helping facilitate that. The ceremony was well attended by Love's management team, as well as our city manager and department heads. So there was a great showing. It had energy, and I really appreciated having that. Love's is currently employing over 60 employees for our city. Some of the employees are from out of town still, but they're training new employees, and their goal is to hire local folks to fill those positions when they depart. So within the year or so, the employees at Love's will be locals. Hoping that's the way it works out, but in addition to our community, they've already given $10,000 to various groups in our community, so they're going to be a great partner. As I told them when I was there, there's 670 Loves nationwide. There's 16 in New Mexico, but they're the only Loves we have. And I'm hoping that they'll be a great partner with us down the road. And so far, so good. As a result of our cornhole tournament fiesta, I was able to recruit a major cornhole tournament here, which starts this weekend at the Civic Center, 12th, 13th, and 14th. We already have teams from Oregon, Arizona, and Nevada signed up. Families and teams are coming to town. We missed lodgers tax availability because of the timing, and it's kind of an in-person meeting, but hopefully we'll be able to recruit them again for next year, and we'll get ahead of the game and facilitate this thing, because they do bring a lot of folks in from out of town. So I'm excited. I'll make a visit this weekend to go see them and welcome them to our community. They're going to be at the Civic Center because they wanted an indoor venue. Obviously, they're going to live stream this thing. This is a regional qualifier for a national tournament, so it'll be well attended. And somebody wants to watch some good folks play cornhole, I guess it's time to come down and take a look. But they're going to be busy Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 8 o'clock in the morning to 11 o'clock at night. So there's going to be a lot of teams and a lot of cornhole going on. And finally, on the end of last month, but after the meeting, we had a meeting with the South Central Regional Transportation and Planning Organization, which I chair. We had the meeting in Waynesburg, and the city presented on Brendan from the city highway streets department presented on behalf of the city, and we're looking for money and funds for Smith Street. We already have sidewalks that are funded and allocated, but now we're looking for funding for the roadway itself, and we're asking for a little over $1 million. The presentation was well presented. It worked out well. It was well received. I didn't get to score because it's the city, I'm the city representative, but I think everybody else scored us favorably, and it was a good project, and Brendan did a nice job. And please pass that on to him. Okay, that's my report. Attorney Rubin, do you have a report for us?
Thank you. Good morning, but I have the report. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. On to consent calendar, which consists of item E1, City Commission regular minutes for May 13th, 2026. Item E2, City Commission regular minutes for May 27th, 2026. E3, acknowledge regular lodgers tax advisory board minutes for March 23rd, 2024, May 2026 accounts payable. Do we have any questions, concerns? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent calendar.
No seconds.
I have a motion in a second. Doris?
Honorable Charles Lynn,
Aye.
Honorable Ross Hessler,
Aye.
Honorable Destiny Mitchell,
Aye.
Honorable Angel Hopner.
Aye.
Motion carried unanimously. We're going to move on to new business. The first item being discussion action NMDOT Aviation and FAA grant application for completed airport layout plan. Cheryl Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mayor.
No?
Mayor Pro Tem Commissioners.
Is this how you want to start? Do you want to start with her, the city manager? This is first.
just gonna do a brief introduction for
Okay.
her.
All right.
So, some of you may or may not know, this is Cheryl. She's with Delta Engineering Consultants. She's our airport engineer on record. And as the commission knows, we've completed our fuel farm out there at the airport, as well as updated some safety issues that we received over the last couple of years. Great funding source for that. So Delta's here to discuss kind of the next round of funding, the grant agreement process or grant application process, and our proposed scope of work for this next round. And so once she's all done with her presentation, Commission, we're here to answer any questions for that, as well as I think City Manager may have some input as well regarding the airport. And then if everything looks good to the commission, concurrence today from the commission to proceed with any grant application process, so we could be in the position for future development, compliance, and funding opportunities. So
Thank you. Thank you so much. Sorry for the interruption. We're calling the.
Hello.
Hey, good morning, Commissioner Forrester. We're on item F1 now on our regular agenda. Are you able to join us now?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you, ma'am. All right.
Good morning, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, Commissioners. It's a pleasure to be with you this morning. As Tracy said, my name is Cheryl Rodriguez. I'm with Delta Airport Consultants, and our firm is the on-call airport engineering firm that does all the capital infrastructure projects and planning projects out at the airport. As Tracy said, in the past couple of years, the city has been busy doing capital improvements out at the airport. Notably, we just finished up the terminal apron rehabilitation of that. The airport has some aging pavement infrastructure, and so we focused in on the rehabbing of that terminal apron to get it up to standards for some safety improvements. And then also we relocated a self-fueling station there to put it with the recently constructed new field farm. So we have a consolidated facility out there. We've got great aircraft parking space now for both current tenants and travelers that are coming into the airport. They have a place to park now. And then we've put all the circulation for fueling in one central area. So considerable safety improvements there. And then we know that we needed to move on into other capital infrastructure pavement projects out at the airport. The parallel taxiway Alpha is in need of rehabilitation or major reconstruction, and then moving out to the runway because over the past years, the city has done a really great job of doing routine pavement maintenance. So right now, today, the runway pavement is in decent condition, but it is getting to the end of its useful pavement life, and so we'll have to program that in. As we're working on our capital infrastructure improvement projects for pavement out there, typically what we do is we work from the runway center line out to the terminal building. That's how we prioritize projects. This airport has been a little different. We've been able to prioritize the terminal apron because of some safety considerations, and then we're going to work to the taxiway Alpha and then to the runway. So at the airport, the city has two key strategic funding partners. Partner number one is the FAA. The FAA provides funding for key development projects that are eligible in airport improvement planning handbook, and those basically are your runway, your taxiway, your aprons, electrical improvements, things of that nature is what the FAA will participate in. They typically, they will participate in revenue generating projects, but those are lower priority and all of your other airfield needs need to be met. How the FAA funds projects, because the airport is a federally obligated airport, the airport earns what we call non-primary entitlement funding. And that's $150,000 a year that goes to like port's checkbook in the FAA world. the city can use funding for that for eligible. And we can use that money annually, or we can bank money to build it up for bigger projects, which is what historically the airport has traditionally done. Another funding source that had come through the previous administration, it was called the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law. It's now the IIJA, which is Infrastructure Investment Jobs Act. And it's called Airport Improvement Grant Funding. There was a special period of funding that was allocated to the airport, and it was a formula-based funding for 5 years. We're at the tail end of that funding. We've got 2 years left in that funding. And the airport's been able to leverage that funding source with the NPE dollars to do some great projects like the Terminal Apron project. The other key funding partner for the airport is the New Mexico Department of Transportation Aviation Division. They also support the airport in all capital type projects. Now, how does the funding stream work from these two agencies? The FAA funding participates up to 90% of total eligible project costs. The remaining 10% of the project costs is what they consider the sponsor share, in this case, the city's share. The state of division steps in and says to fund the sponsors, help sponsor share. So they fund right now up to 9% of the total eligible cost. So really on any given project, the city's share on capital improvement projects or planning projects out at the airport is 1% of total project costs. So what does this mean moving forward for the items that you have in your today? So we've been having active discussions with the FAA about how we're going to prioritize and program the need to do Taxiway Alpha and eventually the runway project. When the FAA funds a project and they issue a grant, the grant application and the grant assurances, the grant conditions says that the airport should have an updated FAA compliant airport layout plan, particularly Exhibit A, which is what we also call it an airport property map. That instrument is the document that gets attached to the grants, and that instrument today at the airport is an antiquated document. It doesn't meet FAA standards. So the FAA said, we know you have upcoming big rock projects for the Taxiway Alpha. We're going to pause in between the Terminal Apron project and the Taxiway project. And we need the city we're recommending that the city move forward with a planning project, which is what is presented before you today. So what we're going to be doing next, improvement projects, is what we're calling an airport update with narrative. What is an airport layout plan? The airport layout plan is a critical document that shows existing and future development conditions for the airport. If you want to get funding from the FAA, the project needs to be depicted on your airport layout plan. The Exhibit A property map also shows how property within the airport boundary inside the airport was acquired historically, and whether or not any of that property acquisition historically was purchased with federal funds. And then the airport property map also shows the immediate adjacent properties around the airport, so we can just see if there's future land acquisition, anything like that needed. It's all identified on the Exhibit A. The Exhibit A is a key document because depending on an airport size, and I'm not saying this is specific to the city's airport, but generally speaking, if an airport is large and they've got property that is demonstrated that cannot be developed for aeronautical use, it can be developed for non-aeronautical use. There's a land release program that goes through, but it all has to be in Exhibit A. So with that thinking, the FAA is asking airports, including the city's airport, to get everything updated so we can identify property acquisition and also aeronautical and potential aeronautical uses within the airport boundary itself. So what Delta has done is we prepared a scope of work that's going to update the airport layout plan, because right now the airport layout plan is about 20 years old. Okay, there's been some development on the airport, new fuel farm, things of that nature. So we'll have to identify where. But we're also, as part of this airport layout, what we call a terminal area plan, and that terminal area plan is going to identify facilities for future aeronautical use, and those are potentially facilities that are also revenue generating facilities. Hangar developments, notably. So hangar development is eligible for funding, but it needs to be depicted on the ALP. So we want to make sure that the airport has a good short-term and long-term planning document that captures the anticipated needs of growth out at the airport, can identify the facilities that can capture potential revenue generation in the future, and then we can move forward on programming those funds in the long term. Also, what the airport layout plan is going to do is, right now you have a primary runway that's improved. It's an asphalt improved runway. There's also other unimproved runways out of the airport. There's 5 dirt runways. We're going to evaluate those runways to determine whether or not they are needed. And the critical item in that evaluation is because when we look at runways, we don't look just at, this is the dirt that they're landing on. We have to look at the airspace out and above those runways. And that's critical because there's property outside the airport boundary that could be potentially developed for other economic development type uses. And today they're constrained because of the unimproved runways. So to facilitate future economic growth out at the airport, outside the airport boundary, we're going to take a look at those runways to see, what can be done to mitigate that moving forward in the future. When we're doing the ALP layout plan, we're also going to write a narrative report that accompanies it, that just basically documents the planning that went behind the ALP, identifies existing and future facilities, and then we're going to do some, a couple of development alternatives of hangar layouts, things of that nature for the city to consider and for the city to adopt, and then developed a capital improvement plan moving forward that supports that long-term growth at the airport. In addition to the scope for this project, we're also going to develop what we call minimum standards and rules and regulations. And so one of the things that when you have FAA grant assurances, I think there's we're up to 40 grant assurances now. But basically, as development occurs at the airport, you want it to have an even playing field. So everybody's operating under the same rules and regulations and policies, and you want to make those policies and everything transparent. So we're going to develop the minimum standards and rules and regulations for the airport as part of this planning exercise as well. So those are instruments that the airport can use, that the city can use to help protect, say, yes, FAA, we are meeting our grant assurances, and we're also, these are policy documents that we can use to help potential future risks at the airport for development. So that's the program in front of you today. what I wanted to do is I did provide a slide here that just kind of talks about all of the components of an ALP. It's a really involved document. There's several different sheets. I'm not going to get into the nuts and bolts of some of them, but basically what's important for this exercise moving forward is we're going to be identifying the existing layout, the terminal area plan, and the airport property map are the key critical components of this exercise.
Can I pause you one moment?
Yes,
We
ma'am.
lost our mayor pro, or our
Oh.
commissioner. Can I call her right back?
Okay.
I just didn't want to interrupt. Amanda, or
There we go.
Hello.
Okay, you're back on.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, I did provide a slide. You can see this, it's hard, but this is the existing ALP for the airport today. So you can see all of the items that go in. That ALP identifies all the runways, both your improved runway and all of the unimproved runways, and then also identifies some aircraft characteristics so that helps facilitate future development. So what we're gonna be doing is we're gonna be updating this key sheet and then updating the Exhibit A, which is a document that actually gets attached to current and future FAA grant applications. One of the things that we do, like how do we get to this point, is the airport, every year we work with Tracy and her staff to develop what we call a capital improvement, airport capital improvement for the airport that outlines what the five-year needs for the airport. The planning document that we're going to be working on, we're going to be updating that, but we're also going to be looking at 5, 10, and 15 years out, developing that capital improvement plan. But what I did is I just put in a slide of what the current ACIP looks at today. So we're in federal fiscal year 26. So before you have the FAA grant applications that are applying for the funding source to use AIG funds to fund a component of this overall project. It doesn't fund it all in its totality. NMDOT Aviation Division is going to be a key partner on this. They're funding the bulk of this. The FAA is going to be funding really the components that they wanted, which is the Exhibit A. So we're going to leverage their dollars under Delta scope to do this planning document. So grant applications are due now to the FAA. So before it's my understanding is that action today allows city management to sign those applications and receive those funds when they come in. How the FAA grant application process works is typically they issue grants in the late summer, early fall, but before the end of the federal fiscal year, which is September 30th. So usually in August, it's a mad dash to get grants that come in, and they come in through DocuSign, and then they flow through into the city. They'll go to the city attorney and then to the city management for execution. And then the funds become available after October 1. So once funding becomes available for this project through both the FAA and the state is when we would anticipate the city to give Delta notice to proceed. So we wouldn't start this project, I would say, until October, November, once all the funding is completely in place of this year. After we finish up this project, which is expected to last about 12 months, because we do need to do some aerial obstruction and evaluation for the runway ends, things of that nature. It's a 12-month planning project, but meanwhile, we're already working on federal fiscal year 2027. We have planning project underway. I've got to keep my eye on the prize for federal fiscal year 27, and we're refocusing back onto taxiway alpha. And so we'll be working on, I anticipate I'll be back before you in the next couple of months to talk about the Taxiway Alpha project. But that's the next big capital improvement project that we'll need to do at the airport. And once that project's done, then we'll move over to the runway. So right now, the FAA is aware that those, and they've had staff out at the airport, they've seen the pavement conditions, and they agree that this is the best path forward. So we are working diligently to get the planning exercise done and move into Taxiway Alpha, move into the runway. And then from there, we'll look at other capital improvement projects, because then we can say, have we met our airfield needs? Yes. Can we shift funding now to other potential revenue generating development, such as hangar development? But that would probably be about 10, 15 years out at that point. But it's a tedious process, but we're happy that the FAA and the state have been tremendous partners and through the field farm and the apron project, and now through the planning exercise, and they're supporting the next project, Taxiway Alpha. So that concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Sure. Stay right there for a minute. Okay, questions? Comments?
Actually, I want some clarification. Hi, I'm Jay Ruby, city attorney. I'm just going to clarify that I have everything in my packet that I should be looking at that you're talking about. I have here the, I have the scope of services document that goes from the table of contents that goes from paragraph 1 to paragraph 4.5. And then there's a letter that I think you prepared December 19 from the on your letterhead to Delta Airport Consultants that went to Mr. Douglas Fuller. And then there is another letter I saw from him, I think, back to you. Actually, it wasn't signed by him, signed by Lance Foster.
Yes.
So what else do we have here?
Sorry, that's a very good question. So as part of Delta's scope, we have 2 sub-consultants on our team to do key work. One of them is Souter Miller and Associates, who's going to be doing the surveying and mapping of the airport property boundary. And then we have NV5, and NV5 is a specialty sub. They're going to be doing their aerial surveying. So they're going to be flying the airport, identifying potential obstructions, identifying elevations, because we have to get some key data that goes into developing the ALP, because we have to, our scope says we were going to be FAA SOP 2.0 and 3.0 compliance. So our subs are key partners, so we can make sure that we meet all of those checklist requirements for the FAA.
How does, I think, so what you're asking us to do is sign the grant agreement. And so how does that? And I'm sorry that
That's okay.
I'm sorry I'm being so ignorant. I'm trying to figure out really what.
Mayor Pro Tem, members of the commission, Attorney Rubin, what you have in front of you again is just simply a grant agreement, right? And it's the presentation of the vendors and the subcontractors that will participate within that program should we be granted the grant agreement. But we have to make application not only to the FAA, but to the NMDOT. This is their funding cycle. So what we're asking for today would be authorization to apply for the grant. The grant would include the work done by Delta Engineering. If you look inside your package, you have a bid proposal that has been reviewed by also, excuse me, the funding sources. So you have a proposal from engineering cost of $303,000. You have a NV5 contract, subcontract for the aeronautical support of $137,000, and then the boundary survey of the airport at $87,000. Miscellaneous expenses, gross receipt tax for a total project of $582,000. The total project will be funded in 3 parts. FAA will fund their portion, New Mexico DOT will fund its portion, and then the City of Truth or Consequences will have to fund our 1% portion, as our 10% grant is being matched 9 to 1. So the proposal again today is to grant us permission to make the applications. We did sign a document earlier this year where the commission granted us the authority for the mayor or the city manager to use electronic funding and signing on those grants that you apply for. and then the final contract, once awarded, would come back for the commission to approve the contract, approve the scope of work, and approve the budget and the budget adjustment if necessary. So I hope did that answer the question?
Yes, but I guess really, I'm even being more basic than that. I guess I'm trying to understand is the document signing the grant application, is that included in what we have here, or is that something that I just, do you know?
Just the documents.
It's just,
Mayor, I would have seen that we did not add the grant application into the packet for your review today, but we only added the concept, the planning documents from Delta, and the budgetary amount for the grant application.
I will say it's not your standard grant application, probably, Attorney Rubin, of what you're looking at there. For lack of a better word, a proposal that's submitted.
so what's being applied for is Delta's professional services fee is $582,000. And that includes the sub costs and the minimum standards and as well as New Mexico gross receipts tax. The FAA grant application is to use applying for the available airport improvement grant funding. To the tune of $274,000. There's going to be a grant request up to NMDOT Aviation Division for $301,000, and then the city's portion is about $6,810. That represents the 1% share on the federal side, and then the rules and regs and minimum standards is not federally eligible for funding. The state's going to participate in that at a 90-10 split for that. So that's why the math doesn't quite work out to a true 1%. But overall, the bulk of the project, the city share is 1% on the ALP update with the narrative.
Well, let me apologize to you and to everybody else because I've had this packet for decades. Okay, so I'm noticing this now, which is not really a good thing, but just noticing it now. Somehow impression was included in here, and I guess it just wasn't. So is there anything legally that I need to be aware of? Maybe I'm just trying to protect the city. And is there anything I need to be aware of regarding this application we're going to be approving?
At this time, sir, no, but when you're going to be the first signature on the FAA grant in August.
Okay.
And what I can do is send you the FAA grant assurances, or I can forward them to Tracy and she can share those with you. So you can just take a look at what the assurances are that get attached to a grant agreement that your signature will be going.
The document we have up there, is that part of what we're talking about, what we're submitting?
This document,
Yes.
no.
Okay, I thought I heard you say earlier that it was. That's
I was
interesting.
I was using those numbers.
I see.
Discussion. I'm not sure that the community is aware of the jewel that we have so close to our outside borders of our community. Not many communities of our size enjoy an airport of this magnitude. This is perfect timing as far as I'm concerned to have this plan done because there's so many things happening in the near future for us that are going to be impacting our community. And certainly the upgrade and expansion of the airport, however we get it done, is going to be an intricate part of what we're trying to get ahead of here. So great. What's really important to us, and I know this is a little bit premature, is our relationship with Spaceport. And I'm hoping that once we get the grant agreements and we get our planning underway and we have our public meetings, that they're going to be a key player. Because I want to know how this community can service Spaceport. Because you can't fly a private plane in a Spaceport. You have to hub from here. And so that's going to be a very important part of the plan for me and how we get those partners to the table and figure out what they need that we can support them with. And here's a perfect vehicle to get those things done. So I'm excited for it. Our payments to Spaceport end in 2029. We need a carrot or two from Spaceport for this community to keep us positive, to get us to support Spaceport for more tax dollars down the road. This might be a good vehicle to get that done. So I appreciate your presentation. It was very informative, and thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez. Yes, I learned a lot from that. Thank you.
There's gateways into the community, and so we're pleased to be a partner in that and developing the airport and improving that gateway into the city of Truth or Consequences in Sierra County. So I was recently at a conference where Spaceport America was there, and they did an amazing presentation. But Spaceport America actually said, airports, as they're developing, members of the public cannot fly into Spaceport America, but members of the public can fly into public use airports in and around Spaceport America. And so the fact that we can, hopefully develop that partnership there and develop the facilities to support that endeavor is exciting. So great. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, there's no more comments or discussion. I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor, before you make,
Yes, sir.
let me reasonably address the attorney's question. So the only thing, again, as I've looked through the packet that's not there is actually the grant itself application, which would include transposing all the information that's in your packet into a pre-formed document. But the scope of work, every document, every schedule, every schedule of event, cost is presented by Delta Engineering. And again, that document then, if approved, this information would go into the grant application. Then that would bear your signature, and then to go out to receive those funds. And again, to assure you, our process would then have that once received, then for approval and inclusion in the budget.
I'm glad you said that, because I was going through all these things, the scope of work, I was thinking the application was included, and then I realized that it wasn't. So that's probably what the hang-up was.
It would appear so, and it would have been an easy, not necessarily a miss, but it's so well defined within your packet. You can see every document, everything that Delta will perform and do for us. So, and again, it'll be transferred into a boilerplate grant application, which is not included in the packet. So, and it's online, upline, yeah, exactly. As the assistant city manager has indicated, it'll be loaded online. So, recommendation remains to allow us to apply for such a grant. And what I like to do, I always like to bring things back down to home. Cheryl did a great job, talked about a lot of stuff. But what I'm excited about this project is put yourself in a vision for 5 years. We really have a 5-year plan that we don't have to go seek funding. Our funding sources have said, if you'll do step 1 first, then you can go to step 2, and then you can go to step 3. We have the right partner in place to help us direct that. And so as this moves, we again have a new airport plan. Then we'll get started on the taxiway, and then we'll get started on the runway. So by 2030, 31, we should have the airport back in good shape. And what's exciting for me is, again, we're not going to have to go beat doors down to go find the funding. Funding sources have said it's time, you're in line, do these things in this order. So it feels really good. And the airport is near and dear to Tracy. This is a project that she's worked hard on and carries a lot of pride in. And so this one is in her basket, and I carry the confidence that her and Cheryl will put together a great, solid plan. So thank you for that. And the last piece in the study, as Cheryl has indicated, we are going to look at removing 2 dirt runways. And the opportunity would be not to weaken or create a challenge for the airport, but to open that door for the possibility of airport having additional economic development around it. And the runways would the document would prove the safety, the nature, the intent, and it wouldn't happen unless the document verifies those things would be done correctly. So, all right. So we recommend approval unless Tracy has any other comments.
Thank you.
All right, sir. Thank you. All right.
With that, I would like to make a motion to authorize the mayor to execute applicable grant agreements as.
Honorable Justine Mitchell,
Aye.
Aye.
Honorable Ted Klein,
Aye.
Honorable Ralph Hessler,
Aye.
Honorable Amanda Forster.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Great discussion, everybody. Thank you, Cheryl.
Thank you.
Move on to item F2, discussion action approval of government relations contract with Civility Government Relations. Mr. Whitehead.
Mayor Pro Tem, members of the commission, again, in front of you today is our next year's budgeted proposal. Civility's government relation, technically our lobbyist. As you remember, 3 years ago, the city entered into a partnership as you were trying to raise funds for water and water projects. Last year, we kind of brought that down a little bit. The contract came down from 36,000 to 18 last year. We were proposing the same concept. We had what I would consider a very good year with our lobbyists. What we did is, she attends many of the finance committee meetings across the state and then is providing us a report. So we're getting, again, our eyes and ears on projects, the state funding, anything that would be available. And then throughout the legislative process is an absolute conduit. This year, we were able to really facilitate some meetings. Through the association, we did end up with a meeting with the governor's chief of staff. Didn't produce any fruit, but we were in a room for about 45 minutes at the 11th hour trying to arrange funds for our wastewater treatment plant. It's our recommendation that we continue to work with this project at least one more year and see if it continues to bear fruit. Again, we invested $18,000 last year and we brought home $850,000 in funding, $500 for Leeville and $350 for Marie Street. And civilities was an intricate part of that while we were at the legislative session. I would stand for questions.
You, questions, comments?
Yeah, contract on the last page has an acknowledgement that disabilities acknowledging it's aware of the procurement code. I don't see that as a problem because we're only talking about a 1-year contract for $18,000. So I think it falls within a small purchase. So I don't see any issue there.
All right. Well, I'm on the same page with you, Manager Whitehead. I think we keep going a year at a time as long as this relationship bears fruit. I think it did last year. We'll work at it this year. Certainly, the discussion you and I had, we're very well capable of doing our own lobbying at certain times, but we can't attend all the meetings. And that's what this person does for us. And so I appreciate that part of it. And as long as we're successful, I think it would be my inclination to keep going with it. Thank you. All right, with that, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the contract as presented between the city of TUC and the government relations contract.
No, second.
Okay, Ms. Torres.
Honorable Ingo Hopner.
Aye.
Honorable Chaz Glines.
Aye.
Honorable Ralph Heshler.
Aye.
Honorable Destiny Mitchell.
Aye.
Honorable Amanda Forster.
Ms. Forster?
I didn't hear my name called, but I.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. All right. Everybody doing okay?
I need a break.
Can we adjourn for 5 minutes? It's now 10:18. We'll resume at 10:25. Make it 7.